anytime people see Chipkali, they're like Ankush. So
That cannot be my brand, guys.
This conversation, now they've told us, is about the guide to becoming a brand, right? If you look at it, every single one of you here has a brand or is a brand. A combination of all of those is happening. Tell me, when you all started this, it's been a while, right? And I think it takes time to sort of build a brand that is consistent and also delivers and also makes you feel like an actual influencer who's able to sell a product. Now, when you began, what did being a brand mean? Because I feel like for a long time, only actors in this country was referred to as, oh, I am a brand, which now also I feel like sometimes is sort of referred to as like when people say there's always like a brand, that kind of a vibe. What did being a brand mean to you when you started? You start?
Thanks.
Ah.
कुछ intelligent बोलना पड़ेगा. I honestly think being a brand basically means having a voice, because I feel like just creating content online and putting yourself out there is not enough, because what distinguishes you from like everybody else out there is what do you stand for, what are you as a person, what do you put out there apart from, you know, just doing things for the sake of content. I feel like having worked with so many brands in the last so many years, I've realized that brands will always go for people who can represent their ethos. And I think in the past so many years also, the creators who have risen above are people who have stood for something. And you know, after a point you realize that being a content creator is not just about creating content, it's about becoming a brand yourself. You know, like people should look at you and know what it is that they've signed up for, what is it that you have to say, and what is your voice as a creator. And yeah,
What is your voice as a creator?
my voice is very fatawa right now. But I think my voice as a creator is just be authentic. I don't know. Like I've always tried to be as authentic as myself on the internet. And I think that's what's made my audience stick by me. It's not just my comedy videos, या वो कितने funny हैं, उसमें कितने likes आ रहे, कितने comments आ रहे. It's just about the fact that ever since I've been on the internet, जब मुझे comedy करने का मन करा, I've done that. Whenever I've wanted to put out dance videos, I've done that. Whenever I've had to speak up on something that I felt very strongly for, I've done that. When in the lockdown I sensed a shift in my interests to also beauty, skincare, everything, I went for it because I was like, my audience knows who I am as a person. So then they don't look at me and be like, ye comedy content creator. They just think of Ankush as a creator, and everything that I do has to fall under that because I'm myself on the internet.
Yeah, a lockdown hobby, ladies and gentlemen. Now the face of Mac India. Suhani, what did being a brand mean to you?
You know, I'm just going to, I like what Ankush said about authenticity. I think when a creator does something, or if there's anybody who's starting out there, I think it's so important to be authentic, because a lot of times we want to follow the trend and do what has already been done and shown that, oh, this is successful, so even I'm going to do that. And I always feel that that is, if you're not authentic, you're in for fatigue. You're in for something that you're not, how long can you pretend to be somebody who you're not? So it's not a game of long runs. I think authenticity is extremely important. But along with that, I feel when you're authentic consistently, you know, and that builds up credibility. You know, you're authentic, you do what you want to do, what you like to do, what you represent, and you do it consistently. That will build up your credibility, and eventually that will lead to audience perception. Like, how does my audience perceive me? I think that is the end goal for me. Like, when people think of Suhani, what do they think? What comes to their mind? And that is what I feel will be my brand. So everything I'm working on, or anybody should work on, is building when people say your name, what do they think of? Like, for example, when I see Dolly, when I think of Dolly, and Dolly is somebody who can do anything. You give her any character, she'll play it. Because I've seen her do that consistently. When I think of Ankush, like, who could have thought? Like, I would never think of a man doing a makeup content. I'm sorry. But then, you know, you played it so well. Today, if anybody's asking my advice, be a male or a female, even for me, I go to him for makeup advice. So, because now when I think,
Thank you, Suhani.
I think that is what, like for me, it's like anybody talks about magic in the country, I want them magic Suhani. Anybody they see any magic video on the internet, I see they tag Suhani. So for me, whatever I do is fine, but if I'm not representing magic, anything else I do is useless for me. So if you're talking about magic, it could be a magic coloring book also, or a magician anywhere. Like I feel like whenever if you tell people to think of magician, they always think of this man with a top hat and a cape. They never think of a female. And I'm like, I want to change that. So next time you think of a magician, it can also be a female. And that's the brand I want to build up. So this is what I think in mind. It's first authentic. You have to be authentic. And if you're authentic and creating consistent content with what you represent, that builds up credibility. Eventually, that is how people will start perceiving you. That will be your positioning in the market. And you build up a brand like that. That's how I believe a creator or a brand should be.
No, I think I completely agree that your name is very synonymous to magic in India and across the world. Parul, I have never seen an audition cooler than Shark Tank India, the one that you had. You really killed it.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you too. I think first of all, you both spoke so nicely about being consistent and authentic. That's what a brand stands for. For me, it was being consistent, but also seeing, because my brand is a product-based brand. Yeah. So understanding what is the need of the hour, what is it that a person, as a businesswoman I'm speaking. So I always try to fill the gap with creating something that a person may need. Like when I started, there weren't as many drag parties, but now people also take my wigs for drag parties. You see? So I need to fill that gap too. Or for Malini, I've made bangs. For her, I've made bangs. So I feel I could create products what people wanted versus what they needed. So that is the kind of content I created using my products. And as an actor, I still am figuring out what is the kind of brand that I am. I think I'm still the actor who sells hair. But
I mean, I have to say, I'm not getting to the details of this, but I heard something where she was badly affected by some products being taken from you. And I was like, that must be so difficult. And I heard the turnover of this company. She is killing it. And I've never seen a product more easily explained than yours. You do this so well.
thank you so much, Renil.
Fab,
You're
fab.
very kind.
Dolly, now actor par excellence.
I think I have to say, Parul, what you do is flawless. It's so seamless. And just say it with confidence again.
मैं शहर की मालकिन हूँ.
Yes. So, my character Budhwar had your hair. Yeah. So, I mean, thank you for that. I think for me, when I was starting to work with brands, there was a lot of times I would, be head to head, ki, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to say this, I'm not going to promote this, or I'm not going to have a CTA in my video and this and that. And brands would have like, but no, why? We are paying you, right? And that's when I think I slowly realized that I myself as a creator, I am a brand of my own, and I will have my own ethos and my own vision and mission and all of that a brand does. And there are things that I will not compromise on because I have to stick on my ground. And I think for me, just understanding what that brand looks like for me and who I want to be has been, a very nice journey to realize what I stand for as a brand. What are those values that I stand for? Authenticity is definitely one of them. Just being real with my audience, testing the products that I am promoting, making sure that I'm not saying something so, superfluous or something so obnoxious that, I just look like a sellout at the end of the day. So I really try hard to not do that. Maintain a certain way of integration in my videos and not feel like, okay, guys, this is the product, go buy it. Even if I'm doing that, I want to do it with my content and merge it in a way in my content that it looks and feels authentic and seamless and people don't realize that it's an ad. That's generally always been the way I, take up things. So for me, just that realization of who I am and as a brand, and I always tell this to other, aspiring content creators, as to just think of yourself as one brand and what are your products and what is it that you stand for. That's extremely important. And it's an ongoing journey. Like for her, I'm sure the hair, it keeps changing, the new products when you keep adding and all of those things with us, the new characters, the new IPs that we make. Then we ventured into other things. I did a candle collaboration, all of those things. But everything has to kind of be in line of what you stand for. It should not look scattered. It should not look like you're doing 100 things at the same time, but people are not able to point as like people should be able to see something and be like, oh my God, this is so Dolly, yeah. You know, this is so Suhani, this is so Ankush. Like anytime people see Chipkali, they're like Ankush. So
That cannot be my brand, guys. But it is. But it is.
Sapola and Chipkali is your
Yes, sir.
brand, Ankush. But
What product could it be?
If I ever launch a brand, it's gonna be a Chipkali repellent. I am telling you, अभी से.
If
Definitely.
Because हम लोग मार्स पे पहुंच गए हैं, चांद पे पहुंच गए, हमें अभी तक छिपकली रिपेलेंट
if
नहीं
you
निकाला
release
है.
makeup, there has to be a chipkali
Chipkali
palette.
repellent with an eyebrow wand, like a combo.
Oh my
product.
God! Patent it right now, Ankush.
You're gonna be the ambassador for this, Malini.
Yeah. 15 years of Malini and Chipkali eyebrows. We will promote it together. This is a collaboration we have
I
started.
love it. I mean, win.
but that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Yes. And Malini, I must say, like, I remember when you started off, and 8 years ago when I started, you just started doing sort of breaking into the Bollywood scene where you started interviewing people. Then I saw you giving space to other girls in the company where they were employees of yours. They came and started interviewing. You gave a lot of space for a lot of people, and now you're a publication yourself. And so much you do with your girl tribe and all of that. How did you get here? And what was the...
Thank you, honestly. I mean, honestly, it all kind of feels very surreal because when I started, we didn't have these words, influencer, content creator. I was kind of making it up as I go along. I was known as RJ Malini for the longest time. And I used to write a gossip column in the midday. But, you know, I was thinking a lot about while everybody was answering this question about brand. I think what brand does is that it elicits an emotion. So when I think of everyone here, right? When I think of Ankush, I feel empathy. I'm part of Overthinkers Club, and I love everything that he shares there. You know, and join his Instagram channel. It's so interesting. You feel a lot of empathy. Suhani elicits a lot of delight because magic is delightful, right? Parul elicits a great deal of confidence in women to say you can aspire. What a boss lady! Like I think it's incredible, and I think it's so inspiring for so many young women. Dolly just elicits pure joy. You just look at her, you feel happy, like this. Like I want to be a friend. You know. With you, you elicit so much grace and confidence and, you know, inclusivity.
I was so scared that you were not going to say anything about
But I feel like for me, I thought about this a lot. I'm like, what do I want people to feel when they interact with me or they come across my page or leave my page? And I saw something years ago that said, you know, this word influence can be a double-edged sword. So when you say, I'm an influencer, think about what kind of influence are you? Because when you are under the influence, it may be a negative connotation. When you have influenza, you might be unwell. So how do people feel? They feel better or worse than when they come to your page. And I went to Malaysia Social Media Week and I did this exercise, and I'm going to make everyone do this because it's a great way to find your emotion. So think, we're going to find your one-word bio. It seems like a very tough thing to do, but it's actually quite simple. Think about all the books you read, the movies you watch, the friends you have, the song lyrics you like. And you'll start to distill out a single word that pops out, like literally like a Beautiful Mind meme at you. It could be anything. It could be adventure, fun, joy, excitement, thrill, whatever it is. That's your one-word bio. When I thought about this, what really bounced out to me was this idea of positivity. Now, when you think about a brand that when I started out, I was supposed to be Gossip Girl. Funnily enough, people always ask me what my name is, and I'm like, obviously, Malini. But because I like alliteration, it's really funny, my name is like Avantika or something, right? But I didn't want to be called Gossip Girl. I'm so glad I didn't do that because very early in my career, I realized that I didn't like how I felt when I wrote a blind item about someone and then saw them and I had to not make eye contact. And that was before they were influencers and they wouldn't know who Malini is. And I took a step back and I decided to be the only Gossip Girl who doesn't write gossip. I only do happy, shiny. If I don't like something, I don't give it airtime. And I never knew if that would survive in an industry like this. So I'm very proud to say that my brand is positive first. And the rule I made my team, and like you said, a lot of my team writes for me, they would always say, can we write this? Can we write that? Iska breakup, iska wo. I made a very simple rule. And I think this is a great rule to apply for everyone. I said, could you say it to their face? Then you can write it. Because you can say to someone, you have a crush on this boy, right? But you wouldn't say, Iska ye, you are having an affair with this person. You wouldn't say it to someone's face. And I realized this as an accidental troll because I would write this gossip not realizing, and I think we all think of ourselves as good people, But when you're writing your next comment, the same thing will happen where you might say something, but you're like, if they were in front of me as a human being and I unsaw the numbers and saw the people, how would I behave? So just to come back to brand, it's really about what is the emotion you want people to feel, and that will become your brand. And it might come in the shape of a product or a publication or anything. But at the end of the day, what are we all here for? I literally have a tattoo on my ribs. You know, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is to love and be loved in return.
What a solid answer. This is what 15 years of Miss Malini does.
Exactly.
We have a long way to go, everybody.
Yeah.